I say we appreciate everybody tonight. We're gonna have a little different dialogue than what we normally have. We try to stay up with topics and whatnot that's in the mainstream media and whatnot. And tonight we're gonna cover a topic that I thought might be interesting to some of everybody in here. So definitely want to get everybody's opinion tonight as well too. So definitely want to get everybody's opinion on how they feel about this topic. We're talking about starting a petition to change the name from African American back to Black American. So we definitely want to get you guys' opinion on that, get some insight from you, see what you think we should add to the petition that we're going to be creating. So we definitely wanted to just know what I'm saying, just get with you guys and see exactly what you thought because 30 some odd years ago when this came into effect, really nobody whatsoever was included. It was pretty much the so to speak had black people in charge that went ahead and came up with this idea and passed it and got into the lexicon and got into American history. So we want to hear what you guys think about it. How do you think we should go about forming this, and what names do you think we should replace African American with? DJ, you up in the spot? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here, my brother. What's the word, everybody? Black people love reparations first. You know the rules. What's going on?
No doubt. Like I say, everybody stepping up in the spot. Y'all go ahead. I want to give a shout out to DJ, KD, I am, John L. Rashad, Queen B, Tom, Carolyn, Plain, Cherokee. Everybody that's in the spot, go ahead and tweet the spot out. And like I say, my man Ray's up in the spot. What's up, Ray? Good to see you up in the spot. So we definitely and Katie, I still want to holler at you like about that DM I sent you, and I said Sonny too. So you guys, I spoke to Sonny a little bit earlier. So whenever you guys get something down for sure, like we can definitely go ahead and do that and have a nice build and whatnot. But man, oh man, everybody's talking about differentiating ourselves from all the other black groups, and I thought, what would be a more powerful way than to come up with your own term, something that politicians didn't come up with, so to speak, but you came up with yourself. Because, like I say, back in '88, it was Jesse Jackson, there were people from the NAACP, people from the Push organization, people from the Republican group here, this and that. And everybody said that this was the best way to differentiate ourselves from everybody else. Like they said that we basically was without, I guess, a cultural base. That we were most of baseless people because our entire identity was based on color. And like I say, there's a little article here that we're going to talk about too, and this is from the Associated Press back in 1988. Okay, back in 1988, and they were comparing us to other groups such as Armenian Americans, Italian Americans, this American, that American. They said, well, hey, these people have a connection to their motherland, and we don't have a connection to our motherland. So this, like I say, I thought this would be an interesting discussion. We're serious about trying to create a petition. We want to know exactly because I've got a lot of props today about this creative petition. I got a lot of people saying, well, hey, not a lot, but a few people saying, well, maybe you shouldn't do this. Like maybe it's already part of history and this and that, and it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. You have a lot of people that identify with this. You have some people even worried about that this could possibly mess up a reparation push because they're saying that if you take the African part out of American, then how are you going to be able to get reparations? And I'm like, well, everybody in the world still knows that you're descendants of slaves. Even when you were listed as a Negro and a Black American and this and that, everybody know that you descend from slavery in America. So I don't really know how that would really destroy the reparation push. Just my 2 cents. So anybody that has a question, you want to ask it, feel free to ask. Like I said, we're going to definitely dive into this tonight. We want to see exactly we just want to hear some people's thoughts, their opinions on it, how they feel about it. Do they feel like are they cool with the way things are? Do they think Black American is a better term than say African American? Do they have any other names or terms themselves that they think would be better suited to move forward to? I feel like Black American to me is fine. I also felt like too we're also talking about not only just having Black American, but those who are from the diaspora who were not born here or who are not descendant of slavery, like the same way you have a non-Latino, a non-white Latino, white Latino, this and that. We feel like you should also have a non-Black American box to check off for the people who are not descendants of slaves as well. DJ.
I definitely agree with that. I think we should just kind of stick to the black moniker. We understand black is not a race, or it's not a monolith or whatever. But this is what our slave masters have called us. So if we are going to change our name, it would definitely have to be collectively. As far as what to change it to, obviously, I don't know. I guess it could be FBA, it could be ADOS, it could be Freedmen. You know, Negro Freedmen. I think that's the better two terms that we stick with right now. But let somebody else speak on it. What's up, Sister Katie?
Hey, good evening, family.
How you doing, Katie?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Really good topic for this space. I agree that we should definitely. I've never subscribed to African American. I've never ever subscribed to it. That shit came into play after I was born. My parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents have never ever subscribed to it. And I think that we should definitely do away with it and give those from the continent, let them have this shit, because this is not us. And I blame that Jesse Jackson for this bullshit, because he damn sure was the person that incorporated this shit, and we didn't ask for this, but this is just something that he decided that he wanted to do. I'm all about giving it. I'm all about throwing it in the trash. I would absolutely prefer. I love Black Americans because that's who we are. And it's sad that we have to go out of our way now to establish that that is who we are when we didn't have to do that in the beginning. I'm definitely fine with us going back to the Negro. But we all know that Obama did away with that in legislation. So we can find a way to bring that back. I would be okay with that as well, because when doing my lineage, I see a lot of that on a lot of the records that I found, for my people. And I know that we were, reclassified a whole bunch of times, but this African American shit can definitely go to hell. And I feel like everybody, depending on where they come from, there should be a designation for them to check. If you're getting all these set asides based off of where you come from, and you look to our HBCUs and they have different set asides based off of where you come from, then there should be a certain box that you should be checking. You shouldn't be able to double dip, as I like to say. Whereas you can get set asides based off of being quote unquote black, and then you can also get set asides based off of your ethnic group or wherever you come from. So there should definitely be some type of distinction, and this is why we are delineating now. And yes, I'm definitely all for throwing African American in the trash.
Katie, I'm glad you said that, because I just recently heard this a couple days ago, and maybe during that time, I guess I wasn't doing the news and stuff like that. So I just heard this what you said, and I heard this from one of the other spaces. They were saying that Obama got rid of the word Negro, and I was like, damn, like that's true. Like I didn't even know that. Like,
yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Because he know he's not a Negro, and he doesn't have the lineage to match being a Negro. So he absolutely threw it away. Yes, he did.
I wonder how
we wasn't paying attention to it because we were so caught up in his smooth talking, and we wasn't paying attention to the trick bag. So yeah, that went right under the radar, but he did it.
And I wonder how the older generation, because growing up, it's like this came when the whole this thing came out back in '88. I had to be like in the third grade or something. So growing up, only thing we knew was black. You was black, and then you heard the word Negro. Like you heard Negro and you heard black. And then I say it really wasn't until maybe around by '91 or so that you actually started really paying attention to the whole term African American. Like it was something that kind of creeped up on you, just came out of nowhere. Because growing up, I mean, please, like your older cousins and people, like they'll tell you quick, Negro, please, Negro this, Negro that. Like you was always called Negro or black. And like I said, it wasn't until later that really the term African American started really becoming a common term in our vocabulary. Whatever it was always solely about Black American. Governor, I see you got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's going on, everybody? I would probably have to say I am the only registered Negro on the census in the state of Maryland, DC area. I made sure I put Negro on my census form. for me and my children. African American just doesn't make any sense to me because I can't trace myself back to Africa. You feel what I'm saying? I can't trace myself back to Africa. So, with that being said, there's a lot of things I can trace myself back to. I can trace myself back to being black. I can trace myself back to being a Negro. I can trace myself back to being a Creek. I can't trace myself back to Africa. So, yeah, I've already delineated from that.
I see, my man. I appreciate that, Governor. I see you not following Newstoter, so make sure anybody that's in the spot that's not following Newstoter, please go ahead and follow us on Twitter. We are the largest curation black-owned platform today in America. We put out more content and more news than anybody, so please go ahead and make sure you're following us. Ari, I see you got your hand up. What's going on, bro?
I was literally just about to say what the brother governor was just saying. Much love to the family. What's up, brother Newstoter? What's up, brother DJ Seg? What's up to the family in the room? Beloved sister KD Enough, brother Seer. But to what the brother just said is everything. When I trace my lineage back, it don't say no Africa. My shit don't say no African American. My shit say Negro and black. Negro and black. Black. My wife is Afro-Latina. Black in Spanish is Negro. Fuck, it's the same thing. So that's really where, like, petition to change African American back to Negro. Like, I don't want to look. It's like foundational Black American, Freedman. Sister Term, she going through her shit right now, but she mentioned it, and it's true. Freedman was a class status that we had when we were free. Who were the freed men? Who were the freed women? What nationality was free? The Negro. The Negro is who Margaret Sanger said, we don't want word to get out to exterminate the Negro population. She never said we don't want word to get out to exterminate the freedmen population. She never said, I don't want word to get out that we may exterminate the foundational Black American. That shit's another African American swindle, even if it's intentional or not, to fuck us up. What did our documents say? What did the birth certificate say? And what did the president, that Hamite, that non-Negro do? He removed Negro. All roads point to Negro. So don't remove Negro from me. I don't want to replace it with anything else. Some people got indigenous blood from this land. Keep your indigenous blood with you. But know also you're still a Negro too. And that's where we got tricked up at. I don't see nobody with their indigenous blood messing up our reparations claim. I don't see that at all. I don't believe in that. I believe that they have a claim off of their status based off of where they're at. My baby, check. There you go, baby. My bad. They got their status based off their claim, and they're going to go ahead and that's a status that they're afforded because of what their lineage goes back to. But at the end of the day, our lineage, our nationality, our identity of our lineage, our blood, as it is on the scientific chart, we're Negroes. 10 toes down, 5 fingers up. But this time, we ain't saying hands up, don't shoot. And I would love to go ahead and sign that petition from African American because Elon Musk is an African American. I am a Black American Negro. Let me repeat. I am a Black American Negro. And that's what I would like my status when I sign up for my census to reflect.
So, Ari, let me ask you a quick question here. And that was a nice introduction to warming up the Twitter space. But let me ask you a quick question. Would you have an issue if it just said Black American?
Not at all.
Okay, I just wanted. No.
Sorry. Black American, no, because I want to put Negro because we've been co-opted. Sorry about that. Just check me on that. No, it would have to say Black American Negro. It can't say Black American. You must include Negro. That Hamite can pick Black Americans. That's why. The ancestral token is locked off American Negro. It can be that. It can be the American Negro.
Well, let me put this out here, because this is one thing we was talking about too. What if we had where it said, okay, just for us that was the descendants of slaves in this country, Black American for us, but for other people outside of that, other people that's part of the diaspora who might be Black, it had non-Black American on there.
Are you asking? Say that again, brother.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, for us as Black American, Negro, like you say, what if for ours we just had Black American, but let's say for somebody from Africa, the Caribbean, or Latin America who was Black, since they were not descendant of slaves, it had for them in a box specifically said non-Black American. Would you be okay with that?
No.
Still no.
I would want the box to designate the box that fits them. African American, they can keep that. That's them. They're the African American. They're the Africans that have now got American status. That's the African American. Just like when I talk to any of these other folks, some folks they'll tell me that they're Ukrainian American. They're Bahamian American. But American Negro or Black American Negro, those are the categories that I would want to sign up for, because those are the categories that I find on my paperwork from my ancestors. So I would like for it to occur in hotel, and reason being primarily because of reparations.
No doubt. Like I say, to me, because like I say, I'm talking about, like, even with the Black American term, and I get you. Like I say, I want everybody to know tonight there's no wrong answer. We just trying to come together, put our heads together, whatever. For me, I would not have an issue if it said just Black American, and for those who were not what I consider Black American, born here and descendants of slaves, if it had a box just like it has for white Latinos, and it has white person, and it has non-white and this and that, I would not have an issue myself, specifically speaking, if it said, non-Black American. Like, it had just a box for us, Black American, you can check that off. And for somebody who might be from Haiti or the Caribbean or Africa, it had non-Black American. To me, that's just my opinion now. So, I mean, my opinion is just that, just an opinion. But anybody else that has a difference of opinion, I don't have a problem with it. But for me, that would be sufficient. That would be fine. Like I say, when I came into the world, I was a Black American. So it was like a Black American Negro, but, it was Black American. So I didn't have an issue with that myself, personally speaking.
Likewise, I didn't either, but look at what Black has now been. We got Black first, we got Black American, Africans are saying they're Black because they're third generation Black Americans. But you know what they'll never call themselves? A Negro. They'll never call themselves a Negro. They'll never. And you want to know how I know that? Because Obama needed a box that he could check that made him feel good, so he could slide in on reparations. And he knew he couldn't slide in with Negro. That right there. Look, when the devil do something, that also is a good thing too, because he's working on the other side to show what avenues he could be taken out from. So the Negro is what the president of the United States underminingly, sneakingly, subverted, underhandedly changed in the middle of night, cloaked in black skin. That's why the Black can't be that, because a black skinned person changed it from Negro. Now, if the black skinned person can change it from Negro, so it can be called Black American, Obama's a Black American.
But Obama was still, on this that we're talking about, on this petition, he would still have to check non-Black American in the box as well. That's what I'm saying, because he is not a descendant of slaves. Even though he's Black, he would have to check on that box. He would have to check non-Black American. So he would not be considered the Black American himself. He would consider a non-Black American. He's a Black person, but he's a non-Black American. He would have to get that checked just like somebody from the Caribbean, somebody from Africa, somebody from a Black person from Europe or whoever, Australia, wherever. He would have to still check in the box non-Black American. That's what I'm saying. But I get what you're saying. I'm just letting you know, like, based on how, if I had to drop a petition, if you know what I'm saying, how we're looking at doing it or whatever, he would have to check non-Black American, because his father was not a Black American, and of course we know his mom was white, so he would definitely not get to be a Black American checking off the box. He would be a non-Black American, just like you have.
Well, even based off that metric too, he could still sneak in and say, "I'm a Black American," because his skin and his American passport. But what he would not be able to sneak in and say is that he's an American Negro, and that's why this is.
You there?
I'm here. Who y'all calling on?
That was Irie. He was. I think he may have. I don't know if he may have dropped anything, but we'll come back to the.
Hold on, can you hear me? I said that's why it's real important to go ahead and get that understood, because he would never claim American Negro. You know what I mean? He would never claim American Negro, but he can claim Black American. So that's why, as far as keeping the borders safe, he would never claim American Negro, but he would definitely claim Black American, as we see even with the Africans and the Black students.
Okay, Irie, we're gonna come back to you. Stay there. I know you got the babies in the background or whatever, but we're gonna come back to you. I want to thank DJ and Mr. M for their contribution on Cash App. If you guys are not following us, please go ahead and make sure you're following us on Twitter. Follow the host and the co-host on here. So show us some love and support. Like I said, we're the largest curator of Black news a day in America. In the Jumbotron, you will see about close to 20 articles that we went ahead and we put out on Twitter today. So that lets you know the content that we drop daily here on Twitter. Many of you in here can attest to the type of work that we put in here. So please, if you can contribute on Cash App, if you got $1, that's $ Newstoter. That is $ Newstoter. Friedman, we're gonna go ahead and let you get up on the mic. Unmute your mic.
Peace to the fan. Peace, news. Newstoter. Appreciate y'all for holding this space. And what a wonderful space this is. So I came in a little late, pardon me. CP time, color people time, breathing people time. Starting a petition to change the name from African American. Is it changing it to FBA? Because bottom line is, I agree with Irie. Obama would never claim himself to be an American Negro, and he could claim himself, and other people can claim themselves to not have the slave lineage and the foundational uh, fathers and mothers and children of this country. Uh, yeah, I would say they need to change it to American freedmen, and that's what we're doing. When we talk about segregation and delineation, the status, the political status, and legal status of American freedmen is right and exact. We don't need to recreate new terms. It's historically accurate. It has legislative precedence. Congress acknowledged it, gave governmental protections. So when it comes to the law and legislation, it should be American freedmen instead of African American, as far as I'm concerned. So that's my piece. And yeah, maybe he may try to claim an American freedman political status, but when you check his lineage, and I mean, he couldn't really claim it because his lineage does not tie back to the slave lineage here in this country. He's not classified as a, well, his ancestors were never classified as a Negro chattel slave. His ancestors were never on the plantation. His ancestors were never documented in the Freedmen Bureau records. His ancestors were never documented in the Freedmen Bank, like many of our other ancestors. So, yeah, American freedmen, period. Any questions?
No question, brother. This is the one thing I will say, and I think even Irie kind of missed what I was saying. Like, I don't have a problem with whatever name it's going to be. What I was saying, based off of this topic here too, is that Obama could not claim Black American. Simple fact that to be a Black American, even under say if we just was going to have this Black American, to be a Black American, you're going to have been born on this land and have to be a descendant of American slaves. So, like I was telling Irie, he would not be able to claim Black American. The most he could claim would be we would have a box that says non-Black American. You're a Black person, but you're a non-Black American. The same way we have with the actual Hispanics, white Hispanic and non-white Hispanics. So he cannot actually claim and say, hey, I'm a Black American just like those people. Like, no, 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 no.
Are
You
you
weren't
saying
born.
like? Are you saying that like? I guess whoever you're talking about controls a exactly what Black American is, because at this point in time, Black American, he would fall under that category, just like other non-American freedmen can fall under African American or Black American. Like I get what you're saying, like blackness was exclusively for us. However, we live in a system of white supremacy, so when they come over to America, they are classified as black. Am I right
I'm
or wrong?
saying this is kind of what I'm saying is like, hey, I mean, I'm saying in terms of being a Black American, like there's other Black people in the world, but all other Black people in the world aren't Black Americans. And I'm saying to be classified as a Black American, you have to be a descendant of slavery. That's what I'm saying. That totally getting
Got
rid
you.
of
Got you.
totally getting rid of African American out of the actual political sphere, replacing it with Black American. To be a Black American, your parent or parents have to be actually descendants of slaves in this country. You have That's the only way you can be a Black American. Now, if they're not descendants of slaves in this country, if you don't come from people who descend from slavery, American slavery in this country, then there's another box for you. That's a black box that you can check, but it's a non-Black American box. See, you're still black, but you're not a Black American.
One question. One question.
Yes, sir.
It's open or just for you or whoever wants to answer. Instead of Black American, why not use American freedmen?
That's a possibility as well. I didn't think of it because, like I say, I came up in the age in the era where we didn't have a problem being called Black American. We looked at being a Black American. We had no issue with it. It wasn't until I was in elementary school that the term African American started coming out, and it wasn't until I got in middle school that it actually started to take off. So I wouldn't have a problem with being a freedman, but then I'm sure there's going to be a number of black people that's older black people or black people even my age that say, well, hey, what's wrong with being just a Black American? They're going to say, I was born a Black American. I didn't have an issue with it until Jesse and the rest of them came up there and said, well, hey, this is better. This is our culture. This goes back to our ancestral motherland,
Right.
homeland, and all that other stuff. So,
Understood. Understood.
because like I say, to me, I think a lot of us, like I say, we're trying to, right now, we're trying not to so much separate, but we are trying to distinguish ourselves as a certain ethnic group in this country. And like you say, the word black is a very vague term. I agree with you. When you start saying freedman and you start saying Negro, if you start saying FBA, when you start saying all of this indigenous or whatever, I also like the term, like I told DJ, original black citizen hashtag. Um, then you are distinguishing yourself from other groups and whatnot. But like you said, how often you gotta think about especially with older black people in their 60s, 70s. I don't think they would. A lot of them will have an issue whatsoever being called a Black American. But you may find some resistance when somebody started coming up with newer terms that these people have never heard. When you start saying freedmen and things of that nature, they may be like, well, hold on, what's a freedman? I don't know anything about this. I never heard it. I was born a Negro. I was born a Black American. So I'm just trying to look at it from that issue whatsoever. But you're right. I mean, that is something that distinguishes us from other groups, other black groups in this country and in this world. So, like I say, and let everybody know there is no wrong answer here. Okay, we trying to put our heads together and see what we can come with, which makes the most sense. So you just brought out a valid point. Ivory brought out a valid point. So there are no wrong answers, no wrong, whatsoever. You may have somebody come in and say, well, hey, I think all y'all crazy as hell, and I'm going to stay African American. The hell with y'all. Hey, that's your opinion. If y'all been in the Newstoter Twitter space, y'all know I pretty much let people get on the mic and go ahead and say what they want to say. So uh, I see Freeman like he's connecting, and we having some people saying they're having issues hearing the volume and stuff again. So once again, we got the Twitter space being janky and whatnot. But Claudia, go ahead and unmute your mic, bro.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up now?
What up, partner?
How y'all been? I just want to make 2 points. The first being the term African American and Black American. Me personally, I do not like those terms. The term Black American, there are immigrants and descendants of immigrants who do call themselves Black Americans. I spoke with them, and there was small disagreements, but So therefore, with that term, Black American, I'm not a fan of it anymore. I personally think we should get rid of it. And the new name I think that we should have, I mean, you see it in my bio. I like foundational Black Americans. I think it's a little more codified. Not only are we talking about our descendants of American child slavery, it also goes into, those descendants who also experienced redlining, police brutality, and everything else that we know that we've been through. And I also want to point out one more thing. Freeman. Now, I was born in the '90s. I've never heard of the term Freeman until Marcel ran, and then after Marcel, I started seeing all these other Freeman. Now, there was a space that was held yesterday. I asked them why was Freeman coming out of nowhere? Like, why did they just come out of nowhere in the past 2 3 years? They answered my question. Um, I'll just end with that.
Well, I missed that point. What you said. You said what would be the term that you said would prefer to be called? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Oh, the foundational Black American. I'm saying to me, it's a little more codified because it talks. Not only does it talk about the descendants of American slavery, it goes into those of us who's also went through redlining, police brutality, benign neglect. I just think the term's a little more codified than. I just think that term's a little more codified than the rest. That's all.
Agreed. I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, man, it's no wrong answers up here, and you made a good FBA. I mean, that's a good term or whatever. Like I say, I'm just trying to think about the entire landscape of Black Americans. I'm trying to think about all of the age groups that we're going to be hitting, from millennials to Gen X's to Z to the baby boomers to everybody. Like, what would appeal to all of the black people in this country? And I know we're not going to ever get 100% agreement on anything. And like I say, I just felt like Black American. I know everybody's saying like, well, people can still squeeze into it like this, and they can. And I'm saying, well, it'd be pretty hard, almost impossible to squeeze into it, because to be a Black American, you have to descend based on how we're talking about positioning this thing. You have to actually descend from somebody that was an actual slave in this country. Okay, you have to be born over here, and you have to descend from somebody who was an actual slave in this country. If you do not, if your family's from the Caribbean, if your family's from Africa, you would still hit the box that says black, but the box you're gonna hit is gonna say non-Black American. So I get what everybody's saying, and I definitely respect it. But I just want everybody to know that we're still trying to look for like by getting rid of this African American, replacing it with Black American. We're looking for a way to like exclusively, people to know who they're dealing with in the country. Like a lot of times, like you guys, you're right. Like a lot of times, we'll see articles and stuff like that, and it's Black American this and Black American that. You start reading, and it's gonna say Nigerian American or this American or that American. So I totally agree with everything you guys saying. That's what I'm saying. Wyclef John would not be considered a Black American. Wyclef John would have to click that box that says non-Black American. Same with Kamala Harris. Same with Barack Obama. The people that rate him and say that they're the first. He's the first Black president. They're like, well, no, he's the first non-Black American president in the history of the United States. That's the kind of thing that would be actually put up there. Even some icons that we have, like Louis Farrakhan and Jesus, somebody like a Sidney Poitier or Harry Belafonte, they would be considered non-Black Americans. They would have to click that box. They would not just be considered a Black American. So I just want everybody to understand that point from what we're trying to say, that yeah, just because you're Black, and I know people saying, well, these people have always schemed. Like, no, it will not be that, because if you don't have a parent, and we can even make it where you got to have two parents, but if you don't have at least one parent that came from descended from slaves in this country, you could not be labeled as a Black American in this country based off of what we're talking about, trying to create a petition and whatnot. DJ, I know you got your hand up. Irie, we're going to get back to you.
Hey, let Brother Irie go real quick.
Go ahead, Irie.
All that, we said we're trying to get back to making sure it identifies us properly. And you see how much explaining you just had to do when you just mentioned Black American?
and how convoluted it's already defiled. What we're speaking about is a nationality, right? Our bloodline and our nationality comes from our bloodline lineage. The reason American Negro or Black American Negro, for some reason, we just have this affinity with not wanting to be called Negroes. Our ancestors had it on their birth certificates. Negroes, water fountain. Whites, water fountain. Negroes, church sermon. The whites' church sermon. The Negro League. The whites league. But now we just got this thing where it's taboo to say Negro. Like Negro is who we are, man. I'm trying to figure out, like, even that's what I don't know why it's so hard for us to accept we are Negroes, and that's what separates us. Black is not it. Black American is tainted. It's convoluted. Obama's a Black American. Yeah. Get into the specificity of it. Yeah, he wouldn't qualify based off that rubric that we're talking about. But guess what? He wouldn't specify as a Negro. He's not a Negro. And that's where the difference comes in. Obama's an African American. Obama's not a Negro American. And that's the difference. It was Negroes for spell.
Hey, excuse me. What prevents an African from considering himself a Negro? You mentioned earlier something about the scientific classification. That would be the Negroid feature. That would be anyone that's black.
So no, that's not. No, that's not. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait. I'm not sure who was that came chiming in.
That was me, Black Action. I've been waiting.
Oh, okay, because Black Action, I didn't see.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't put my hand up. I just spoke out of turn. My bad.
No, that's good, man. It's a Twitter space because I don't even see your hand up. So go ahead, let Irie finish, and then you can come on in here because I saw your hand up for a second, but then it seemed like you put it down. So let Irie go ahead and finish, and then you come on up, bro. Irie, go ahead and finish up. We are Negroes. Margaret Sanger said we must let word out that we're trying to exterminate the Negro population. She never said the African American population. She didn't say the Negro, the freedmen population. She said the Negroes, man. My ancestors' paperwork say Negro on it, man. Negro is who we are. Now, he was wanting to take me on that rabbit race, and I'm willing to go there because there's also the African in that same list too. So don't try to come over here lying like that on the taxonomy scale and then try to say Negroid means black. That's not true. That is not true at all. But at the end of the day, the thing about it is that Negroes were shipped over here from Negro land. Wasn't even called Africa when we was over there. The land we was on was called Negro land. Look it up. It's time to start just, look, it's okay to be called freedman. That's a class status. It's okay to go ahead and identify yourself with foundational Black American. And that means the Black Americans that was here from the foundation of the country. Those are all points and ways to identify yourself. But who was at the foundation? Who was free? It's the Negro. And if you go on your paperwork, when you look at your ancestors and say Negro, I think the buck stops there. When you look at Obama doing his dirt in the dark, and he's trying to remove Negro because he's removing us from our right of claim. They want us to jump into another wagon with foundational Black American, another wagon, another African American play game. Nah, man, I'm good on that. I'm doing what the ancestors had. That's why I'm going back to that because that's what's on my reparations. And I'm gonna claim that because it won't be hard to prove. All that other stuff, that's conjecture. You will not see that in court. There is no foundational Black American paperwork in court. There is no, when we get up here and find out where we came from, freedmen happened after we were free. So who were we before that?
Okay, you got to give somebody else a chance to say. You're saying so many things, man. I just
go ahead, Black. Go ahead, Black. You can
have discord. I mean,
Irie, go ahead and mute your mic. Hold on 1 second, Black Action. You know, let you go ahead and get on here. Irie, go ahead and unmute your mic. Go ahead and mute your mic for a second. Black Action, go ahead.
Well, no, other people had their hands up first. I ain't trying to jump in front of nobody. I wanted to.
Well, nah, bro. No, you go ahead. You go ahead and speak on it.
Well, he said, yeah, he's saying, we can't. Man, I'm confused now.
Actually, Black Action, won't you repeat the question that you originally asked to his Irie's first statement or whatever? Because I actually wanted to piggyback off of that. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I think. Do you remember your question? I kind of lost my train of thought because I didn't want to jump in front of nobody, but I wanted to cut my man off because he's saying a lot of things, and it's not that I just 100% disagree with him, but I don't like the Negro thing because I feel like it just puts us right back to where we already are, and that's the whole point of someone coming up with the foundational Black American, to distinguish ourselves so people can't come over here and get up under us like they're doing now. So are you saying to me American Negro is ambiguous? It causes ambiguity? Well, Black people in Africa would be considered Negro. That is not true. They could come over here and just put down their Negro, and you'll be right in the same boat. That's not true. They're Hamites. They're not Negroes. If they come here, what do you think? Like look at the way they're writing now. They're pretending to be a. Yeah, I'm Black American. I'm African American. I'm African, and I'm in America. They playing these games. You know, we need to distinguish ourselves so that they cannot say anything. That's all I'm saying. Let me jump in there real quick.
Hey, DJ, hold it down for me for 1 second, all right?
Man, in the business, big bro. So check this out, right? My ex, right? She was a Rican, and one day she said to me, because she got actual African kids, you know, her baby father from Ghana or whatever, and we was just talking about race or whatever, and she was like, "Yo, yeah, you know, my kids are more African than you," and I just laughed at her. She was like, "What you laughing at?" I said, "When have you ever known me to identify as African American? Because I'm Black." She had nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, a Black person, a melanated person can identify as Black, I guess, but you're not Black. Meaning, in the context Black Americans use it, means by definition unknown. So where's Black country, Black landmass, Black city, Black town? Kind of like a Chinatown or Koreatown. So those things are important. So when a person from Nigeria or somewhere in South Africa say they are Black, not really. That's just what you identify as when you come west. Otherwise, you're your country of origin: Nigerian, Jamaican, Congolese, Haitian, Trinidadian, Tobago. That's what you are from a place of origin. Your country's surname. You can't be Black unless you come here to America, or even when you get here to America, you still identifying as, you know, a Trinidad American, or Ukrainian American or Russian American or whatever. And even then, those are differences, because you got to think, when Asians come over here, you know, they are under the moniker AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander. But when you go back to their respective countries, they're beefing with each other. You know, North Korea don't like South Korea to this day. China and Taiwan about to go at it over some CPU chips. You see what I'm saying? So they only that particular thing when they come west, or when they come to European countries. You know, it says Negro on just about every birth certificate or Black. You know what I mean? So I don't think we'll be going backwards if we identify as Negro. Other thing is too, like I already said, that shit is on every particular piece of court document, legal document, birth certificate, your job application when you filled it out, whatever job you chose Black.
Does it say Negro on your birth certificate?
Negro means Black in English, sir.
Well, I'm saying, what does it say on your
Negro
birth certificate?
means Black in English, sir.
Hold on. Before we go any further, let me say this right here. I'm gonna get to you, Core, I did too, but we also got to remember, for those of us that's old enough, you know what I'm saying? Right here, I mean, I'm in my early 40s, so for those of us that's old enough, let's also remember too that a lot of black people, I like being called Negro now. Let's just keep it 100. A lot of black people, they looked at Negro as almost, and that's not all of them, but quite a few of them looked at Negro as an offensive term. Like they were glad in the '60s to switch from being called Negro to black. That just be for real. Like the Black Panthers was able to get Martin Luther King to stop calling the black people Negro and switch to Black American. So switch to black. So they consider that a actual elevation, being called taking being no longer being called Negro and being called black. So you got to figure out that might be, like I said, there might be a huge drawback with a certain segment of black people in this country if you refer to them as Negro. That's not all of them, but you're gonna have some that's gonna be like, well, hold on, I ain't no damn Negro. Like DJ said, Negro is just black. It's just a Spanish word for it. It still means black, but just the term that Negro and everything that it came with, you're gonna have some black people that's gonna have some pushback with it. But I'm not trying to cut the conversation off on who was it on, DJ? Was it on Black Action?
Yeah, well, anyone could go, but just to yield my point real quick. At the end of the day, black means unknown. So if we're going by that moniker, that means we are unknown people. Also, black in the context of definition unknown also has a letter of representation in example X, or to give a better example, Malcolm X, meaning unknown. So if we're going by black, that means we are unknown people as well. You know what I'm saying? So if we're going to choose that, that means we have to start gathering to acquire a landmass to say that we are a nation of black people, and this is our landmass right here, which was never given to us, the 40 acres in the middle. See that? So I guess go ahead, Quad, there real quick. You got your hand up.
Just real quick, with the term Negro, I don't see the difference between that and black. I mean, anybody can just come up in here and say that they're Negro as well. Um, in foundational Black America, it's just qualified. Now, if we do want to go back to Negro, for the roles who do want to go back to Negro, it gotta be defined, man. It has to be defined. Because if I can talk to some of my Jamaican counterparts, and they could come and say that they feel like they're Black Americans as well, what's going to stop them? Like Black Action's question, what's going to stop them from saying that they're also Negro? I mean, if you originally say Black American, we know what we're talking about. When you say Negro, you know what we're talking about, but it's not really defined. The government, they have African American. Everybody can just go under African American in some institutions, and then some institutions there are Black non-American. It's not consistent. That's why a foundational Black American, that term, it's it basically covers everything. That's all I'm saying. But
Right,
if you want to go back to everything, we have to define.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Quadell.
No, I was saying if you do want to go back to Negro. One more thing. The term Negro, that was a derogatory term. We all know it's a derogatory term.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people are gonna be like pissed. Like a lot of people, they were glad to escape the term. And like I get what everybody's saying, but I'm just being honest. I'm old enough to remember that to escape the term. And like I get what everybody's saying, but I'm just being honest. I'm old enough to remember that.